let me just post on Twitter. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, live in brackets? No, question in brackets. Like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets. Ask away. Right. This volume down slightly. That's right. The volume's fine, really. Actually, do that. Do some of that. A couple of songs on. Let's go here. And then make my face appear. Hi. Hello. How's everyone doing? I'm BoredGamer. Hope you're okay. Alpha 4.2's live. Alpha 4.2.1 is in Wave 1 PTU. That's crazy. Everyone is doing well. I don't know how long I'm going to stream for, just because I'm relatively busy today doing a mixture of chores and on a sub a new 3D printer and things like that. Thought I'd come say hello, talk a bit about what people want to talk about. Because obviously we've got problems with turbulence with 4.2. Quite literally, ground turbulence when you're taking off and landing. You can have a wibbly wobbly ship. You will have a wibbly wobbly ship to some extent, whatever. If you're near the ground because of turbulence, but it's interesting. Some people are having very wobbly times. And then obviously you've got big sandworm fights, you've got lots of cool stuff happening there. And then with 4.2.1, got that new major cross shard event, which is pick one of the 4 corps of Stanton and basically go, cool, I'm going to go gather materials for you guys, and there's a load of industrial-ish missions for that, for like mining or cargo hauling, but also a little bit of defend and reclaim and stuff like that kind of missions as well. think that's really interesting because it's what people have asked for ages, like a more industrial style mission, and we've got things like a line and mine which combine the two, and to an extent this combines a few things. What I'm saying is it does combine. There is combat there, but it's a much more industrial, much more PvE and non-combat if you want to. I like the idea. How's the latest patching? Are you talking about 4.2 or 4.2.1? 4.2.1, not enough of it yet, and they're still bringing the features in. So it's sort of like just a test of a slightly buggier version of Live, with that event there as well, which is a set of new missions. Really cool. Really looking forward to it when it's like a little bit further along, 4.2.1. Yeah, it's been really hot here over the last few days, like over 30 C and very humid. Today, significantly cooler. I think it might be under 20 today. 17 at the moment. Yeah, still humid, but it's not blazing hot. I have a Banner Merchantman I bought a while ago. I don't think the Banner Merchantman shops are automated. Should I upgrade to the Kraken Privateer instead? So, don't 100% know how the shops are going to work with the Banu Merchantman when it's done, because they need to iterate on them as they get closer to them. What we last heard was their shops where you like get an NPC or an automated kiosk. It'd be one or the other, most likely. You'd basically have an NPC that you'd run it, which would effectively be automated to an extent. Do you see what I mean? And then you'd set up the inventories for those shops, probably where they draw from, although there might be specific storage for them. But we don't 100% know, because what's likely to happen is that they'll redo a load of the Banner Merchantman stuff, go back to sort of do a light reconcepting, take as much of the grey and white box work they'd already done, push forward with that, and then when they get to the shopping sort of systems, they'll iterate on that. What feature do you think would bring the Merchantman to the game sooner? So, them getting an economy and wanting player-to-player trade is probably going to be a big push for that. The player-player trade and some of the crafting stuff is probably going to push more for having shops and players be able to sell stuff to each other, and a system for that. I think that'll help push for the Bandit Merchantman. But one of the issues the Bandit Merchantman has is that there are lots of ships that share assets. The Bandit Merchantman doesn't really share much in the way of assets with a load of the other ships other than the Defender. The Defender is far too small to have much in the way of transferable assets. And if you have a team working on the Bandit Merchantman, when they're done, and if they're not working on any other Bandit ships, because there might not be any other Bandit ships for quite a long time, it's kind of not particularly efficient. But them working on a chain of RSI ships or Drake ships or whatever is a lot more efficient, because that's a lot more that those ships are going to have reusable assets and have a team that's more focused and more efficient at doing them as well. Whatever happened to Squadron 41, and will we ever get to know Squadron 43? So we'll get to know a load of the squadrons, even if it's just through Zin's Law. We learned about Squadron 143, the Black Rose, the other day. 143, 142, 142nd, 43rd. One of the two. Something like that. I have to have a look now. It was the 214th. The Squadron 214. Have you reported you played Stormbreaker? Yeah, yes. So I've played through some of the Stormbreaker stuff and messed around in some of the facilities and loot some stuff. I haven't done a full-on Sandworm defeat myself. I've tried to record some people's. How far is CIG away from player-to-player trading? I believe they're working on it, and I say I believe that because I was talking to the economy team recently. So, from what I understand, they still want to have a Star Sim, dynamic universe, and a player-influenced economy, but not player-led economy like in Eve. So that's very much player-led Eve. But there's going to be NPCs and other factors that are affecting prices. Effectively, players represent 1/10 of the sort of population, kind of. At least in terms of like other NPCs that are generated. Why are people speculating that base building will come in November? And do you agree with the state based on what CIG has said? No. So I think they're working on base building. I think we'll see more in October. We could see something really early in forms of base building or land claim or something a little tiny bit. Kind of a little taster of it this year. But again, I think even that might be a little bit too optimistic. I mean, there is a big focus on those kind of gameplay mechanics working towards 1.0 and evolving the game from what we've got and content, and not in the way of much in the way of like crazy new features. Base building isn't that crazy, but I do think it's going to be a little bit further out. Yes, that is how you ask a question. Another new unique name. A beautiful name. Have going on. Yeah, I'm quite excited for 4.2.1, but I'm always going to be excited for the next patch, whatever it is, for the most part. What I'm also looking forward to, beyond a event that I think a lot of people want to play, and it'll get a lot of people playing Star Citizen, is I'm looking forward to engineering. So engineering hopefully will come to the tech preview build over the next few weeks. That is what I'm going to be very keen to track, because I think it's so important to get into the game as soon as possible. I mean, as soon as sensible, right? Not as soon as possible, as soon as sensible, because once you have engineering in, they can then start balancing a lot of the stuff more finally, with final balance in mind, I should say. Yes, there's a lot of other stuff coming. Yes, they need Maelstrom. Yes, they need physical armor. They're going to have a data-driven armor system with engineering, I believe, shorter term. But big steps towards more finality for ship combat, multi-crew, capital ships, targeting, just a load of stuff. So important. Yeah, so player-to-player trading, are we going to have a big marketplace? Is it going to be something where it's local system-wide or planetary-wide, or it's just an enforced contract? So it's like for sending credits and merits, but it's enforced. So you go, yeah, you can have these items, bam, bam, bam. Oh, those items, do I have to deliver them to you to get the money? Or does it just go, these items are here, accept the contract, got to go there and pick them up. But they are yours. And then we need a deeper assets manager. A lot of stuff from EVE Online, CIG and Star Citizen can make use of it. A lot of the way they organize stuff. Not all of it, but there's a lot of good stuff in EVE. Obviously, it's been refined over many moons. But I think a lot of people are going to be pretty happy with more industrial group competition in 4.2.1. It is a bit more PvE, less combat-y, less PvE, but that stuff can still exist even with that. But you have to have like under crime stat 3 to be able to participate in the missions. Although some unlawful missions might expand out from that, and people are certainly going to want to pirate around to make some extra cash. Although much more likely, if you see a pirate, they're more likely to extort you, say, "I'll let you go if you give me some money," because they're not going to want to faff around with a load of tungsten. Do you think they'll actually manage to get planets orbiting the suns and moons the planets and asteroids, whatever they orbit? So interesting. I think they can. I know that they had a dynamic spline system for quantum travel and stuff like that. Do they need to? I don't think it's essential for Star Citizen. The only people that have made it essential for Star Citizen is CIG saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to have it." It's such a rod for their own back. Yeah, can they do it? Yeah. Do I think it's necessary or worth the effort? No. But it is very cool. The last thing we heard is that they are still planning to do it. I don't think it's an element of Star Citizen 1.0 though. Under locations. Oh, I don't think it's a. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe they consider it part of Planet Tech V5 or something. But I don't think it's part of not a written feature of 1.0. Interesting to see what CIG considered. Do they consider it part of 1.0 or not? You think we will see the swamps and jungle shown off at CitizenCon? Yes. Yep. We'll see it as part of 1.0. Is it possible they'll tweak some of the biomes in like Pyro or something to include some of these and even Saturn? Yeah, I think so. They finished those biomes. The planets generated with them potentially. Will CIG get in legal trouble for not fulfilling all the Kickstarter goals? So probably not. From my opinion, I'm not a lawyer. So there'd have to be people complaining, and then there'd have to be people suing. That would be my expectation. And CIG can probably show that they'd gone beyond the Kickstarter goal. So they don't need to fulfill them beyond producing the game, and they have, but much larger level. You wouldn't be able to go, well, they promised this particular feature. Well, they go, well, done something a lot more than that. Or in the small print, it says it might be a bit different, and it is a bit different. So I don't think they will. But there could also obviously always be like a lawsuit or small or class action. You're right. Hey, you lovely looking lad. Looking good, by the way. Perfect. This is what I like to hear. How is the patch holding up in terms of stability? It's not awful at the moment. But that said, PTU is a really interesting one, especially Wave 1, because it's under limited load. And Live seems to develop more problems when it comes to server instability and degradation than the PTU builds do. Don't know why. That said, it is also early. So I haven't had any crashes yet, but I have had problems where I can't log in and things like that. And jank. Sort of teleporting happening. But they're not that much. Yeah, super excited for that patch, just because I do think there's going to be a load of people playing, and be interesting to see what other content creators, who they choose, sort of up to back. Hello. So if I was on in 12 hours, which I don't know why it was saying to you on YouTube I was, that would be 3 a.m. in the morning for me, which is probably a little too early in the morning for me. I don't know where my phone is. Put it on its stand. Cool. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting about ground turbulence in 4.2 because a lot of people are not happy with that. Oh, the ICTs. So CIG decided not to monetize everything crazily. The ICTs are, all of them, currently at least, aren't available to buy with real money, which is... And an interesting side effect of that is that the ICTs are not on the ship matrix. There's no dedicated ICT page like there was with... there's the ATLS Geo and there's the ATLS. They've got pages, but no ICT page on the ship matrix on the website. So hopefully CIG will go, oh, we don't need to... Ships don't need to be sold for real money for them to have a ship matrix page. I thought that was interesting as well. I don't mind if they sell them for real money. I don't care. I do want a load of... I want everything to be available to purchase in-game, which they're not available to purchase in-game. You have to do Wicklow quests or steal them, or buy them off a player at the moment. You order a Big Mac, but they give you a whole cooked cow. You can't say it's okay, we gave you more than a burger, for example, but the fact that a deliverable was changed might be hard to escape. No, because on Kickstarter, it is just an assumption of what you can do. Kickstarter, pledge, and also not promises. Very much with Kickstarter as well. Typically, it will be, and with game development, it will be, can't go, oh, this is different from what I expected. That you signed on for that. But from a Kickstarter point of view, right? Do you see what I mean? What I'm saying is that I don't think you'd have a case there. Personally, anyway. Like, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I do back a lot of Kickstarters for board games, like a ridiculous amount, and I've backed a load of like Ashes of Creation has changed hugely since that's a PC game that I backed hugely since its inception. But Star Citizen, they'll go, you can't go, oh, they haven't given me what I wanted. Well, they're still working towards it. But that's something they could argue, right? And they've given you a huge amount more. So, yeah? I mean, you might not agree with that, but it's not as if they're deliverables from a publisher's point of view either. So, GTA 6 and people talking about 2 billion in development costs, that's from a leak, and also I believe it potentially includes all of their marketing budget over several years for the future. But again, that's not official as far as I'm aware. When do you anticipate a 1.0 release? The current roadmap shows that's next. So, no. So, 1.0 on the roadmap. Let me show. Let's do a show and tell. Work? Yeah, cool. So, Star Citizen 1.0. We've got 4.2 here. Part of 4.2 is actually just the 4.2.x branch as well. So 4.2.1's got the Vault Laser Pistol in it, and some of these other, this sandbox activity, and not this new set of missions, global event, Phantom, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Star Citizen 1.0 is not the next patch after that. 4.3 probably going to be the next patch. That's what CIG have suggested. All of the features that are in Star Citizen 1.0 will come out at some point. When all of them are in-game, they consider Star Citizen 1.0 released, and there'll be no more resets. That's the idea of 1.0. So there could be loads of features in here which get delivered significantly, and will get delivered significantly earlier than the 1.0 release, where features will sort of sit, but don't have a particular patch, but they're working towards. And when do I think 1.0 will be ready? Good question. No earlier than the end of 2027, if you're being super optimistic. I do think they'll genuinely have it done by the end of 2028. That's my expectation. That might not be yours. might say, whoa, you cray, Granddad. You've been covering Star Citizen since you were in your 20s, and now you're over 40. And I'd go, yes, I'm tired. That's what I'd say. However, I do still genuinely believe in Star Citizen. I've enjoyed it quite a lot, warts and all, as I've gone through it. Lots more playable content now. Still, I am waiting until there's Star Citizen 1.0 and no more resets. That, to me, that's bam. Let's play this bad boy like a lot. Play Star Citizen a bit. Jump into the new stuff. Spend a lot more of my time on the PTU than I do on my live build. Some on the live build, but. And I'm kind of more like a Star Citizen voyeur, watching other people play and getting involved with other people doing an org operation. That sort of excites me, and I'm really interested in it. But I more want to film it, sort of socialize games at the moment. Yeah. I hope that answers at least some of your question. Question, example, if private servers are nixed, that was why someone backed in the first place. They have grounds for a refund. Yes. So I would think, and I'm not a lawyer, I would, and it is my opinion, that you should request a refund if that is why you backed. Because you wanted Star Citizen modding and private servers. However, that still might be the case in the future. I think I'll find a lot of people will have potentially backed partly because of that, and have also put in another $3,000 over the last 7 years and things like that. It's less likely to get a refund if you've done that. Playing as well, it's an interesting one, right? For the love of God, what happened in this update? I lost more than half the ships when I bought in the game, but I also lost more than 10% of the capacity of my warehouse in my hometown. Interesting. So what, you've got a different hangar entirely? Lost ships and several armors and weapons. So more stuff was supposed to carry over than less. I haven't had much in the way of stuff lost, but I don't accumulate huge amounts of stuff in game when I play, at the moment anyway. Interesting. Did Alien Week already start? Yep. Alien Week is currently still ongoing. The next few days at least, I believe. Hasn't ended already, is it? With the Ironclad approaching, do you think the ship loaner matrix will get updated? They should update it every so often. We don't know 100% when the Ironclad's coming out. A lot of people are hoping that we get it for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo or Fleet Week. So either IAE in November this year or Fleet Week in May next. Just got on, so sorry if you already covered this. Any word on the RSI Galaxy? No. So, you can expect the RSI Perseus. That's highly likely, but not 100%, but highly likely to turn up during this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo to Flyable. And then CIG will be working on the Galaxy if they're not already by then. Lots of transferable assets from the two ships. Should actually have a relatively short cycle before it's out, in my opinion. Did CIG say anything about this type of occurrence in the update? So you're talking about losing your stuff. That does happen to some people sometimes. More and more stuff should have actually transferred over rather than less. I'm not sure if that something I missed and a load of people lost a lot of particular types of thing. Was it like Wicklow ships and contested zone ships, or was it stolen ships? What were you actually losing there? What are your thoughts on the RSA Meteor? Do you think EMP ships have enough gameplay? So EMP ships, we need engineering, and then balance to that, and potentially Maelstrom, but engineering. Since you have engineering, you can balance the EMPs and distortion much better. And EMP is going to be a lot more useful, especially you've got things like, well, actually, EMPs and distortion damage can destroy and detonate missiles and torpedoes if used correctly. So the RSA Meteor is currently expected to be a heavy strike fighter, and be a variant, effectively, although it might be its own hull, just only a bit changed, of the Mantis. That's expected with 4.2.1, which is expected in July. What variations of the Mantis do you hope for? Oh, good question. I don't really know. Let's see what the Meteor is, assuming that it is a Mantis variant, because obviously they've updated the interior a bit of the Mantis in 4.2.1. I forget we can actually use footage of it. It'll tell us in to start getting some footage of 4.2.1. I'm really looking forward to the Perseus. One of my favourite ships. I like a nice, simple, brawling, large ship that goes, I just want to shoot other big ships, really. Who controls the spice? Do they really control the... Well, no real spice, no worm poop in a Star Citizen yet, but soon. What I think is funny as well, the irradiated Apex Valakar is going to be significantly weaker fighting an actual Apex Valakar. Apex Valakar are less weak points, if any. What else? Oh, yes, that's what. I lost my executive hangar Hornet. So my expectation that some of the Wicklow and some of the executive hangar ships will get lost because they wanted to do it so that they updated with the correct components, right? I think stuff like that happens, unfortunately. Ended up with duplicates of store-bought gear like armors and weapons, not complaining, but wondered if anyone else had this. Interesting. When Squadron 42 is wrapped up, they will move the teams to Star Citizen. So, there are some teams... They moved some of the teams when they were in polishing mode for Squadron 42 to Star Citizen. A lot of teams are still working on Squadron, though. And that is... and you'll see a lot of the Squadron 42 components and polish and content updates and upgrades and stuff like that feeding into Star Citizen as they complete them. And yes, once Squadron 42 is sort of finalised and they can move teams off it, they will. And you'll see more ships and more locations because of that. Interesting. Private servers were literally the reason I started backing. Okay, I'll talk to you about that properly at some point. I'd like to get your I'd like to get people's ideas on games changed. Is it for the better? Is it for the it's a different game and I still enjoy it, or well, actually no, I'm really upset because I wanted something simpler and in our hands 5 years ago. I think the engine can handle Planet Orc. I think you're gonna. Well, Star Citizen handle Star Citizen. I think it can. But I mean, they'd have to. I think it can, but how long and how much effort is it going to take? Is the juice worth a squeeze? And I don't think it is. You think 1.0 end of 2026? I start at 27. Well, I hope to be that optimistic again in the future. What do you think the next big feature coming to Star Citizen is? Almost certainly engineering will be the next one. And then there's a load of stuff that could happen, like hacking or the depths, which is sort of extraction shooter elements, kind of like the contested zone stuff, but a much more focused PvE. Got stuff like base building, stuff like that as well. We've got server meshing. We just don't have dynamic server meshing yet. Need for 1.0. With crafting, do you think we'll eventually have any form of bioengineering, like pets fighting animals? So we're supposed to have pets. What form will they take? Is it just going to be terrariums? Is it going to be things that we put on our armor? Is it actually going to be a companion pet that comes around with you? Maybe. Don't know. Could crafting have bioengineering? Yeah, but bioengineering in the same way that, well, technically it's just crafting, right? Maybe. Might be able to get this stuff off Wicklow and stuff like that as well, so. I like the idea. Do want pets. How do you handle your pet getting blown up in game? You'd be like, oh no, they're insured. They're insured. They always come back. They got simple imprints. You know anything about them implementing the assets and the systems from Squadron 42 to live? Will this happen before Squadron 40 or after? Bit of A, bit of B. So they're going to bring drip feeding more and more of Squadron 42 stuff into Star Citizen as they go. And then some bits afterwards. Imagine boarding a Kraken and facing a pack of wild armored apes. Can we have lizard horses with wings, breathe fire? Only they had some sort of name. Like a half lizard, half bird. Like a griffdrin. A lizgriff. Yeah. New animal just created right there. Do you think the new transport hangar elevator version will be ready anytime soon? They're constantly making updates to hangars, freight elevators and stuff. And general transport as well, I suppose. How do you feel about the regen crisis? Will it mean we are close to death of the spaceman? It might be leading up to that eventually. It's more to explain that players, the 10% population that are players, are the people that do regen. And the rest of the NPC population don't. For the most part. There will be some NPCs that do. They go, I see, that's how we explain them going back to life. Steve? Or not? Death of a Spaceman at some point. Yeah, this is probably moving up to an area to explain it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that when it's done, Spaceman. The server meshing tech, when will it finally result in much better and consistent server performance? CIG mentioned anything. So we know that they want to improve server meshing and general server tech, and they want dynamic server meshing, and they hope that when it's all refined in the future, it will be really good. That's basically what they've said. There's no timelines of that. It's very, very much an iterative process as well. That might annoy you that I use that as a catch-all term, but it is. Thanks for all the kind words. Genuinely appreciated. I'd like to see proper ground content involving vehicles. They could have done a bit with the Stormbreaker. That would have been nice to have a road from the transport hub to the Lazarus site. Oh, do you know what? I would have really liked that. Instead of the shuttle, I would have loved the road and you drive there. That would have been cool. People driving in and out. And we'll have stuff like that in the not too distant. I suspect. I'm totally with you. Give me reasons to use ground vehicles. Make them cool. Make areas where ships can't go. Reasons we want to bring ground vehicles. Make them super useful. Make NPCs use them. Stuff like that as well. Yeah. Totally agree. I believe there's simple blocks. There's ground vehicles are basically treated as ships by the game. So anything that affects ships also affects ground vehicles too. I think there is a level of that as well. There is ground vehicle physics, which is different, and the vehicle/ship markup is at least a bit different. Is split, but I see what you're saying. I think there is an element of that. Any news specifically on dynamic server meshing that you remember? No, the last time I had any updates on dynamic server meshing realistically, when I talked to Benoit at CitizenCon, remember, it was just like, yeah, it's an important part of 1.0. We're working on it. We know they're still working on it. All the data they're getting at the moment from static server meshing stuff, helping them build that. How's the Prowler 440? Banner Merchant 650. I guess the Banner Merchant is still concept, but yep. Partly that. Expect the Banner Merchant to be well over $900 in my opinion once it's viable. Eventually more. How realistic is it to believe that CIG will actually manage to eliminate bugs and balance the game properly enough to post 1.0? Not be considered somewhat unplayable. 100. Okay, near 100%. They'll be able to do that. When? Is the question there, right? They'll be able to get to a point where they go, right, let's refine it. Oh, we need to polish it for another year before release. It could be something like that. And we need to strip back a couple of bits and bobs. Find alternatives for it. I was talking to Chris about it, about Squadron, him being super happy about it, but also him being a visionary for Star Citizen. And that's really super appropriate for Squadron because they can make that happen. In Star Citizen, that's harder to do in a timely manner. And I was sort of saying, must be really happy with like his brother Aaron, who's much better at getting things out. And does he, as a visionary, does he understand and like the fact that other people will have to take his vision and make it a reality? Sometimes there needs to be that reality might not be perfect in line with the vision. It's like, yeah. I sort of accept that, but you need to keep on pushing the vision. And that's important. Want as much of the vision there, and without compromise. Make compromise where you have to, not always. And so Chris super passionate about Squadron and Star Citizen. I've got some notes from that, and I'll talk about it at some point. What I'd like to do is, when I haven't been drinking at all, Chris Roberts. So I went to the Bar Citizen, and a load of people got me a load of drinks in a very short period of time when I haven't drunk since basically CitizenCon. I'm never publicly drinking again. I'm just going. I'm gonna pretend I'm driving. I'm gonna pretend I'm. I just won't do it because I'm around a load of people where I can get really tangible, great information from. And if I'm a bit drunk, can't think properly, or having a panic attack or whatever, I'm very anxious. Not helped by alcohol. Appreciate anyone that did see it. Bar Citizen. Even though I wasn't annihilated or anything, I was not sober. Will the Valakar have a variation that lives in the refuse tank of our ship? Oh my god. Maybe they eat it. They eat all the poops. Last patch, watched they mentioned a ship that was getting new egress animation. Any idea what the ship was? Ooh, was it in Patch Watch? Don't know. So 4.2.1, they've updated the Mantis, assumedly ahead of them. Obviously, there've been updates to like the Caterpillar and stuff. I'll have to find it, dig into it. Is it true in 1.0 if we eat a double chili dog and fight with a helmet on, we could jump high? Potentially. Might give you a little buff. Will you hold my hand? Ooh woo. No hand holding in Star Citizen, unfortunately. No mechanic. slap your hand away. Right. Wasn't a horrible NPC on the board too. So, you're likely going to get more PDCs, more more blades, and then AI blades allowing you to have sending autonomous function of things like countermeasures. Some turrets will be able to fire automated, things like that, and then NPC for a bit later. They're all still planned. AI blades are going to be not too far away. Probably see them talked about it. Right. I am going to dash off because I want to get the podcasters an eye out. Talk a load about 4.2.1 and some of the problems with 4.2, especially with the wobbly ships. Wobbly ship? No, wait, no, that's a weird thing I don't want to get into. And the RSI meteor to a degree. Yeah, games I can recommend at the moment. Just finished playing Alters. I might do another playthrough. But that was really, really good fun. Check that out. Finn and I are looking forward to Escape Simulator 2. Yes, play some Escape Simulator for a member. I've actually got a load of videos I need to release on the members and Patreons, getting some exclusive videos. Normally I've seen us discussing something random while playing an escape room game. Looking for other co-op games to play as well. I think we might give Planet Crafter another go because there's moons to go mess around on. Playing Parallel Experiments at the moment. Laugh. Yes. Let's go see who else is around and streaming on Twitch. Probably gonna. See over to Moist Noodle. I haven't seen my beautiful boy for a while. Right. Thanks so much. Genuinely appreciated for watching. If you want to further support the channel, links below. Become a member with the join button, all that sort of jazz. Watch my videos. Need to contact me, contact at BoredGamer.co.uk. Say hello. Any question, get me on my Discord. Great to see you. Thanks so much for asking.